And then I'll have like $200 sitting in the account. Like, how can I spend that? Like, I'm pretty bad at it.
Mate. If I have money in my PayPal, I almost have to restrict myself from going on Facebook, because what will happen is I'll get my phone and I'll go, oh, I could buy that. Like, just whatever someone's listed, I'll be like, oh, I could buy that, and you know. Sweet. Right, so hi guys, welcome to Hammond's Hobbies. This is the new podcast that I'm starting, where I'm going to chat with people from the F1 card collectible community. Today I'm joined by Matt Leyburn. Hi Matt.
Hey guys.
And he's a collector from Australia that has had many years experience collecting F1 cards and getting autographs in particular. But we're going to talk a bit about the sport itself to start off with, past, present and future, and then we're going to discuss obviously the collectible card scene. Obviously it's exploded over the last year and what we expect going forward. So main question is, how are you doing today, Matt? Are you okay?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Glad to be here.
Good. It's taken us about 3 months to organise this, with Matt being obviously in Australia and working, and me working and being in the UK, so our time zones are completely out of whack. So, but we're here now, and we're going to hopefully provide you guys some good commentary on what's going on in the world of F1. So, Matt, if you want to tell us a bit about yourself, obviously you were saying before, obviously I weren't recording properly, but you were telling us all you've been collecting since 2007?
Yeah, so I've been collecting cards since 2007. It was kind of actually, honestly, I was always looking for little extra items to get signed, because at the Australian Grand Prix, not many people used to try and get autographs. If you knew where to stand, where to wait, you could sort of meet the drivers and get items signed. And I just thought, oh, maybe there's F1 trading cards. And I found the Futura 2005 set on eBay. And sort of that, I just bought that off a guy, and then he was local, so I met him to pick them up at the time, and he told me about the Futura 2006 set, which was extremely rare. He had one, he'd never seen another one other than the only one that he had, and yeah, kind of just went from there. I went back and bought all the old Adelaide sets, like the Grid set, the Pro Track set, and then just like searched the depths of the internet to try and find any Formula One cards I possibly could.
Yeah, so you actively obviously went out of your way to search for these products, which is quite interesting, because for me, obviously, I actually, obviously, you could probably tell, I got into Pokemon first, and I collected Pokemon cards as a kid and I sort of fell in love with it because I was never into football. I don't know why. Obviously, it's very rare that a kid from the UK is not into football, but I don't know. I just found it really boring. I really tried. Everyone around me told me I should support West Ham, and I watched a couple of West Ham games, and I was like, oh, this is really like brain dead to watch, and when I started watching F1, a lot of people just think obviously it's just, they just go around and around a track, but actually when you start looking at the numbers and you start thinking, oh, he's catching him at 1 second a lap, like for me the 12 laps leading up to the overtake is almost the exciting bit, because you're all like, oh, he's getting him, he's going to catch him. So I just found it quite interesting, like, to watch the whole race, and then that was it. I just fell in love with F1, and but obviously at the time in the UK there was nothing collectible card wise that I knew of, and I didn't actively go out to look for it like you, so that's probably my fault. I've been looking at those Futura sets, and like you said, is it the 2006 one? You can't get them. There's just no, I don't, even just single cards. I look on eBay all the time and I never see any come up.
Yeah, you couldn't even get them back then. So yeah, in 2007, like I was searching for them, and I used to have a Japanese mate, and we'd search like Japan, Yahoo auctions, I think it was, and they just never came up. Anyway, I think it would have been the start of 2009. There was a bulk lot of like 500 cards came up, and I bought it and I sent it to his mom in Tokyo, who then like sent it to me. I think it made like 4 base sets and like had all these doubles. Sadly, I've only got 1 complete set left, because I didn't know the value of these, and particularly the Hamilton card, which I want to cry when I think about it. But luckily enough, I still have 1 complete set, and yeah, most of them are signed, and yeah, I've been very fortunate enough. So I've got like Nicky Lauda, Sterling Moss, Jack Brabham, Schumacher, guys you can never replace have signed the cards. But yeah, I wish I kept the other 3 Hamilton cards, to be honest.
Yeah, because they're fetching quite a bit of money now, aren't they? They're
There hasn't been any proper sales of them. Like my friend sold his on eBay about 18 months ago, and he got about 2,000 Australian for it. And this was just as sort of like Topps took the license. So I think that kind of opened up people's eyes, like, oh wow, we should probably search for F1 cards and see what like the rookie cards are, and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't be letting mine go for that sort of money. I've been offered a handsome sum for it, but I just can't bring myself to sell it, considering knowing that I've got rid of the other three. I think that's something that I'll keep forever. I'm not a huge Lewis Hamilton fan. Like I respect him as a driver, I just don't support him. But even so, I still pretty special to have that card in the collection just as a Formula One fan.
Who would you say you support the most at the F1 grid?
Sebastian Vettel, hands down. And that's through meeting the drivers and him always being the nicest to me. So my friends, I went to 5 races in 2010, his first championship year, and he'd always remembered me like from Melbourne and would sign stuff for me. It was really nice, take time, have a chat and everything else. And he saw me at the British Grand Prix. He was like so surprised to see me. And like I asked him for a pair of his race gloves. He said, oh, look, I'll see what I can do. Anyway, then I met Mickey. I don't know if you've heard of Mickey from Mickey Lee. He makes like the licensed like models and mini helmets and all sorts of stuff. And
right, okay.
We wore these big, stupid stuffed Red Bull hats. And he was a massive fan as well. And yeah, he asked us for them. He's like, oh, I want the hat. And we're just like, oh, why do you want it? He's like, I'll wear it on the podium. Anyway, Mickey went to the Italian Grand Prix later in the year. I'd already gone back to Australia by then, and Seb gave Mickey a pair of gloves dedicated to me to give to me, to send to me. And then when Seb won the World Championship, he wore the hats. The team wore them in Brazil for the constructors, and then Seb wore them in Abu Dhabi. And I've got 3 pairs of his gloves, so like 1 Ferrari and 2 Red Bull he's given me over the years, and he's just always been really nice to me and looked out for me, and always signs. No matter what I put in front of him, he'll sign. I've got all 54 race win program signed by Seb. Every time he wins a race, he's like, jump on eBay, try and get a program. And then when he goes to Australia, I just hit him up and he just signs them all for me. I was just a really nice guy. And,
so I bet then
I could be the best driver in the world. And it was a lot of fun.
I bet, I don't know if you saw the rumours that were going around that if Hamilton retires, Seb was lined up to take his Mercedes seat. I bet you was foaming at the mouth there, weren't you?
I would have loved that. There was a picture that someone sent me of Seb having dinner with Toto Wolff in like a really obscure restaurant in Melbourne at the start of 2020. So there's like a bit of rumours that he was going to go to Merck, but even back then. But look, I love Seb, but I think he struggled. He was supreme when the cars had a lot of rear end grip, pre-turbo era, and I think he just lost a bit of confidence in the car. And you can see that with some of the spins and whatnot he's had over the years. But I'd still love to see him in a top line car. I think he'd still do really well. I don't know if the hunger and the drive is as strong for him as it was back in his Red Bull days. But I would love to see him in a Merc or a car capable to just see if he could potentially deliver in it.
When Sebastian Vettel was fighting for the first couple of world titles, obviously it was the same as Mercedes is now. It was Red Bull dominant vehicle at the time, and it was him versus Mark Webber. And I remember Mark Webber was leading for quite a while, and I thought, I sort of hoped Mark Webber would have won it, because I really like Mark Webber as a character. He spoke really honestly and that, and I was really cheering for him. So when Seb beat him, I was like, no, I was pretty gutted then, and then from then he just seemed to always it was pole position win. And I thought, one day I'd like to see maybe Seb sort of midfield and see how he gets on. And then obviously when he went to Ferrari, since then he has been, Ferrari have been either back of the grid or mid-grid up to the front end now. But since then, like you say, he's really struggled. And that was a criticism, can Seb overtake as well as some of the top drivers of all time? And we've seen him and Lewis especially, it always him that comes off worse off. He just spins out all the time, and I thought, he must have, like you said, it must have a knock-on effect with his confidence, because the next overtake he goes in for, he's going to think, am I going to spin out here, am I going to ruin it again, I like Sebastian Vettel as a person, but to me, even though he's won world titles, I've always not thought as highly of him as, say, Fernando Alonso. And I hate Fernando Alonso, but I always thought he was a really good driver, very aggressive, and he seems like he's still got it, even though he's 50 odd now, or whatever, 40 something now. So, for me, obviously, I'm a huge Lewis fan. As soon as Lewis was on the scene, not only, obviously, it's very easy to just go, oh, I'll support the British driver. I used to support David Coulthard, but I actually really like Mika Hakkinen, and obviously he's from Finland. So I was a McLaren boy growing up. I had McLaren hats and all of that. And for me, when Lewis came on the scene, it wasn't so much that he was British. It was more the whole, he was one of the poor kids that had come through, and I know he had a huge McLaren backing, but it was more that he had that, he wasn't the rich kid from Monaco and his dad was in F1 and he just got him through that way sort of thing. And he seemed like he put in the graft. And then obviously when he came out, he was very well spoken, very polite. And I think you mentioned this before in a chat. F1 drivers start off very open to meeting fans and having chats with people and all that. As soon as they become a bit more sexy, they're like, no, I don't want to know. I'm too busy for that. So I suppose you found that over the years, but because Sebastian Vettel has always gave you that time, you hold a special place for him.
Yeah, for sure. But I think your criticism was probably a little bit too harsh as well, in all honesty. I mean, he never led the championship in 2010 till he won it at the end. He had a lot of bad luck with certain things throughout that year. And look, what about 2012 when, it went down the wire with Alonso? He got spun out, lost half his barge board and cut through the field to win the title.
Oh, yeah, he's had some amazing races. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I just don't...
I think he has struggled in the current era for sure, but I don't know. I don't know with Seb. It's a bit of a tough one. He probably has to perform, particularly in 17-18. I don't think the Ferrari was as good as the Merc. He had probably some opportunities. I guess the big one was Hockenheim when he spun out of the lead. And he was, leading the World Championship. So he hasn't put it together. But
I think he lost a lot of confidence when Max came on the scene. Was it Max? I think when Max came on the scene. No, was it? It was Daniel Ricciardo, wasn't it? Daniel Ricciardo came on the scene. And then then all of a sudden they were fighting a lot more, and I don't know. His head dropped, and then that's when they were talking.
Yeah, I think I reckon Seb mentally checked out though, because he knew that Red Bull wasn't going to win the title that year, and I think he was looking to go to Ferrari the year after. And look, Daniel Ricciardo did beat Seb, but Daniel Kvyat beat Ricciardo in 2015, the following year. So
yeah, it's true. I think it's the same with, and I know saying this to an Australian. Maybe it's a bit harsh, but Daniel Ricciardo, everyone talks about Daniel Ricciardo being really good, but from what I can see, he left Red Bull because he realised he wasn't as good as Max, and then he went to, was it Renault he went to from there, and he didn't perform very well, and then he went to McLaren, and he hasn't performed very well. So, and you got to say, with the grid, the way that it is, it seems like if you have a good couple of years, that sees you through to a few more years after that, even if you have a couple of bad years. It seems like it's not like football where you have one bad match and they're like, right, you're out, and the next person's in. Do you know what I mean? You can...
Yeah, look, I think, with Ricciardo, though, I don't think he left Red Bull because he thought Max was better. I think it's that Max had the full team support. You can see in Drive to Survive when... Daniel won Monaco. Christian was like to Max, that should have been your win. Just be happy for him, kind of thing. The team wanted Max to win over him, and he knew he was always going to be second fiddle because Red Bull, Max effectively was the new Vettel. They'd nurtured him the whole way through, and that he was the product that they wanted to bring through. I think with Renault, their grand plan, coming back and everything else on paper looks really good, and they were hitting their targets initially for the first couple of years, but then they kind of just went stagnant with that. And he could have gone to McLaren, but he chose Renault and he went to McLaren. Look, Ricciardo, I think how bad Ricciardo went this year or last year flattered Lando Norris. I don't really rate Lando Norris that well, and I watch F2 and F3, and George Russell wiped the floor with Lando in F2. I think he's improved a lot, and he is a good driver, but I just think Daniel Ricciardo, how bad he was, flattered Lando. And look, they both were in a position to win a race this year. One of them brought it home and won the race, and the other one didn't. So,
Yeah.
I still think Ricciardo's a good driver. I just think I think it's just too many car styles, and he hasn't adapted as well as he or as quickly as he should have. But I think we'll see a much better Daniel Ricciardo next year. Or sorry, this. Yeah, I keep forgetting what year we're in. In 2022. Yeah. Look, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's as good as Max. He's definitely not. But he's a good driver. But yeah, I just think.
Who would
he just struggles to adapt. Probably is maybe his main problem.
Who would you say is
challenging?
Who would you say is on Max and Lewis's level currently in the F1 grid?
Through junior talent, George Russell and Charles Leclerc. Like Charles Leclerc, smashed F2, F3, won them both in his rookie season. George Russell did the same. And for me, with George Russell, he was given that one opportunity in Bahrain, and effectively he should have won that race and just absolutely bossed it. So I think, Hamilton's going to have to watch out this year. I really think that with George.
That's going to be.
And I think if Leclerc's given the machinery, I think Leclerc's a bit too erratic though. He's got a lot more natural ability and talent than Sainz, but he gets a little bit hot headed and makes those in quali crashes and whatever else. But Sainz was a big surprise. He was really consistent this year and he stepped up. So, I mean, if he's constantly there, Leclerc has to switch on his mental game. But I think really Leclerc and Russell, after those two, are the main ones. And Oscar Piastri's done the same. F2 and through rookie back to wins. I think he will replace Alonso in 2023. Obviously, Zhao, that's gone to Alpha for money. He was an Alpine development driver with Piastri, and they've happily let him go and kept Piastri in the fold. I think that's a good reason because he's going to replace Alonso, and they see a long-term future with Piastri and Alpine.
Fair enough. Nice insight into the future. But obviously, the main talking point of F1 at the moment, depending on when I actually upload this video, obviously is how last season finished. What's your take on how it all, whether you favour one driver or the other? How do you feel it all panned out? Was it good for F1? Was it bad? What's your take on it?
Okay, so I feel like there were some very, very bad calls all season with a lot of incidents. So my take, do you want me to go back through the whole season, or do you just talk about how we done?
Mate, you talk about whatever you want.
Right, well, if you look at a lot of the decisions throughout the year, I think, Lewis sort of had the rub of the green on a lot of decisions, and we can argue this. I mean, Silverstone, he did get penalised, but effectively he got 25 points for throwing that race just for the car being so dominant and no one could match his pace, and he got away with that. Will Buxton wrote an amazing article on the Italian Grand Prix incident. Max shouldn't have been penalised for that, in my view. That was a 50-50 at best. Lewis was coming out of the pits, so therefore anyone on the track has right of way view instantly. Lewis gave him the room into the first part of the corner, then simply took it away. So you can't give someone room and then take it away. So I think that was a racing incident. That's the fact that Max got penalised for the next race for that, I think, was very harsh. He sent in the Will Buxton article on that because I just thought he described it perfectly, because everyone sort of Max ended up on top of him and it looked bad and everything else, but you can't give someone room and then take it away from them halfway through a set of corners. Lewis effectively came second in Imola front lapping himself behind a safety car as well. We get to Abu Dhabi. Look, they didn't follow the rules by letter of the law. And if I was a Lewis fan, I'd be blowing up and so unhappy and everything else. Realistically, it pisses me off because the technicality that only some of the cars got let through and not all of them. I wish all the cars got let through and we would have had the same outcome and there would have been no cause for the uproar. I think the pressure was on the race director. They couldn't let this championship, with the hype that it's had and the media attention, so it's finished behind a safety car. So they had to let them go racing. But I also think not a lot of drivers would have been able to do. That was a big lunge from Max into turn 5 to get Lewis. I think not a lot of drivers would have been able to pull that off as well. And look, if Lewis had pitted, Max wouldn't have, and they would have been in the reverse. And I'll be honest with you, if it was in the reverse, Max and Lewis would have crashed 100%. Max would have closed that door and they would have crashed.
Well, this is something I wanted to touch on, actually. I'm a huge Lewis fan, but I'm not delusional, like some people on Twitter and that. I can say that was a bad race for Lewis. That was, he didn't do well there. I can criticize him as well as praise him. And what I noticed was that I know he was on obviously the worst of tires and all of that, and obviously Max overtook him. But like you said, I was thinking he hasn't got that. He hasn't got that level of aggression. Because, like you just said, you just hit the nail on the head. If it was the other way around, Max would have been like, well, I'm going to lose this championship anyway. Might as well take us both off the road. You know, I think he has got that mentality. Whereas Lewis, when you saw him, he let Max through. And I just thought, why is he not, like, swerving and trying to knock him off the road?
I think the other thing in that is Lewis knew he had a much faster car as well in the straight line, so he thought maybe he'd get him back down the straight. Whereas if the shoes run the other foot, Max wouldn't have had that speed because like it was still sort of going down the back straight. So Lewis
still back at him, didn't he? So Lewis, I thought, oh, this is Lewis' chance, but he just like you said, he didn't seem to have that like right. This is all or nothing. He just took it as like, I don't know, which is a very sportsmanly thing to do. It's a fair, you know, he gave him...
You know, yeah, he seemed to handle it well. Maybe not the team, with the whole thing afterwards. And look, yeah, if I was a Lewis fan or Lewis, I'd feel very hard because they didn't follow the rules to the letter of the law and everything else. Look, Lewis is an amazing driver. He's phenomenal. I'm not disputing that, but I genuinely think the best driver of 2020 won the championship. I like Max. I'm not a Max fan per se, but yeah, I definitely put my hand up and say I was going for Max in the championship. But yeah, it was just a bit of an interesting one. But honestly, I remember with about 15 laps to go, I'm seeing this isn't over. Like with this season that we've had, this is not finishing like that. And as soon as I saw Latifi in the wall, I was like, Max is going to win this. I just had this feeling that like shit was going to hit the fan, and it did.
Well, the trouble is that whenever something happens towards the end of a race, it's always the person in second place, almost, that has the upper hand. Because whatever the car in front does, you do the opposite. You know, so then
that's all what Max could have done in that instance. But
I mean, if they'd known, if someone had said in Lewis's ear or into his engineer's ear, oh, he's going to pit for tyres, then, and this is how it's all going to pan out, and you're going to have 1 lap left, then they would have pit, and that was their argument, weren't it? If we had known it was going to go that way. But yeah, the thing that really frustrated me with that is not so much Lewis lost or anything like that, and I'm not spitting my dummy out because I'm a huge Lewis fan. I actually think, and this is controversial, I think this has been good for the sport overall, because even though it was a poor decision, it was a poor way it ended, people are now criticising, like, was Max's win deserved, which I think it was, you know, and all of that everyone's having those sort of conversations. For me, people are having conversations. Do you know what I mean? People are talking about F1. People are excited to see F1. So I think if I look back over the years, this is all I've heard. Oh, Formula One's boring. It's just Michael Schumacher, win, 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 win. Then it was Sebastian Vettel, win, 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 win. Oh, now Lewis, win, 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 win. It's so boring. It's so predictable. It's just it's just a parade of cars going around and finishing in the same place. Now we're talking about controversy, decisions, rules. Like, all these people that have only started watching F1 like 1 year ago are saying, oh, Article 4.2, and I'm like, what? You know, so I think it's really good for the sport overall, and I'm almost sort of glad it happened, I suppose, because now everyone's really hyped for Drive to Survive. Everyone's really hyped for next year, which helps the sport overall. It just creates that talking point.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously leading into that, obviously that helps then the collectible cards. So obviously last year we had sort of almost from nowhere, this is how it happened, my journey. I went to my supermarket and I saw F1 collectible cards through Turbo Attacks and for 2020. And I remember I was collecting Pokemon cards at the time with me and my son. We started this YouTube channel together. And I was like, oh my God, collectible cards and F1. That was it. I bought as many boxes as I could. Not because I thought, oh, these are going to go up in value or anything. I just bought them because I was so excited to open them and like, oh, I want to get one of every set. Oh my God, I need to complete this set. And And I remember I did a couple of videos about it on the and they just flatlined. No one was interested. Obviously, everyone that was watching my videos wanted to see Pokemon content, and I was like, "Oh, look at this F1," and people were like, "Why are you showing this? This is boring." But I was like, "I'm into it." Do you know what I mean? I just want to. It's for me.
Yeah.
And obviously, as the time's gone on, and then I just thought. I just thought that was it. I just thought, oh yeah, they're going to bring out match attacks, turbo attacks, and they'll do it every year. Great, I'll buy them next year. And then all of a sudden, everyone was talking about Chrome, and I was like, what's this? And I had to search it up. I was like, what is Chrome? What is Sapphire? What is? I didn't know what any of these things were. And I remember someone commenting saying, mate, before you get into sport card collecting, you better do some research. It's nothing like Pokemon. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But then, like, people were pulling these cards, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is a £15,000 card." I was like, "What? Where's this come from?" You know, like it just blew up. I couldn't believe it. But I assume you probably knew in advance, and you'd done all your research and everything.
Oh look, it was more that I read some article that like Topps had done a license agreement with Formula One to make cards, and I was like, oh wow. And then I saw the Topps Now cards, and I missed the first couple. And I remember I paid $60 for the number 3 Hamilton on eBay, the really rare one.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, like, I can't believe I'm spending $60 on a piece of cards. Like you, I want a complete set of everything, right?
Yeah, same as me.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's exactly how
I was messaging to Stella, and he's like, mate, I feel bad for you. And he threw in like the Albon one for free, the podium one. He's like, I feel sorry for you, got to pay all this postage and blah blah blah. And then yeah, they just kept taking off and taking off. And I think I just ordered one of each, and it was like I was paying like $25 Australian a card like each time through Topps directly because of the shipping and everything else. And because I knew Chrome was coming out, so I was ringing like shops in Australia, emailing them like, guys, are you going to be getting this Formula One Chrome product? Like no one really got back to me except one guy that like had a Pokemon sort of base site, JD Collectibles. And yeah, he goes, oh, I like F1. That sounds really cool. So he didn't know about it till I told him. He was emailing the suppliers. They didn't really give him much. And he ended up getting like 5 cases, and he sold me a case for a very reasonable price. And then he sold boxes to my mates for a reasonable price. This was back in April. But yeah, if it wasn't for me, like he wouldn't have got onto the product, and I wouldn't have got that. And I was extremely lucky. I hit a Lando 4 autograph in my case. So like that's, there's only 9 of those I think that have. And have you seen the video? Someone's made a video about the Lando 4 autograph.
No, I haven't seen that.
Because there was some conjecture because PSA wouldn't authenticate it. But yeah, there's a whole story behind it. But I'm going to try and get a video with Lando saying, yeah, it's real next year, or this year at the Australian Grand Prix if I can. That's one of my main goals, because I think it'd be really cool if I've got Lando on video saying, yeah, I actually signed that and written Lando 4. But yeah, just by finding out that they have the license, I just did my own research, and I just took off. As a thing like the National Card Show in America, I think once that happened, that opened up everyone's eyes to F1, and that's when like July onwards it went crazy. And you start the ridiculous prices started happening. But like even back in April, a Hamilton autograph was like $8,000 US, and I'd see it on eBay for $8,000 for days, and no one would buy it. And now they're like 40,000 US cards. The most I've ever spent on a card, and my girlfriend killed me when I did it. I dropped 2,000 US on my Max Verstappen autograph because I saw the potential in that. So I'm glad I did, because it's tripled to 4 times the value now already from what the sales are. But I'm never going to sell them and hang on to it. But yeah, everything else, I wouldn't even have 10% of my collection at today's prices. Like I would just be priced out completely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've never, until like this F1 Lights Out set, like I was saying to you before, I have never opened up any F1 products, like print on demand stuff, or the more. I've only opened up match attacks, or turbo attacks, sorry, as they're called. So they're like £1 a pack. So I've never opened up any product like that, and I'm hoping to get some for this year. I'm hoping to get a couple of boxes and some of the F1 Dynasty as well, just so I can have that experience of opening it up. And again, I don't care what values they are, but yeah, I'm completely priced out as well, and it's tough because for a collector, I mean, even if I was talking to my wife about it, and I was saying, do you know what? I'll never have a Lewis Hamilton signature card, and she said, "Why'd you say that?" And I'm not a negative person. I'm very positive. I believe you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. And I said to her, I went, I just couldn't. How could I justify having a 20 grand card sitting behind me on a shelf, when we could go and put a deposit on a house, or go on like 5 holidays with that, or whatever, and I just couldn't justify it in my head. I was like, so even if I got it, I'd probably sell it, and that's not because I'm, like I want to make loads of money out of the hobby. It's just because if someone's willing to pay that for I'd have to sell it. I just don't think I could hold on to it. And those sort of that.
I think if I pulled a Lewis Hamilton autograph, I would keep it. I wouldn't sell it. Even though it's got that value, it's fine. I've got it. I don't think I will get one, but
I think if I was more comfortable financially in life, I'd probably.
Oh, if I win Lotto and win $60 million or something, yeah, absolutely, I would buy one right now. But unless I pull one from a packet, which I don't think I've got one hobby box coming, because in Australia they're about 800 to 1,000 box for 2021. I had to buy one because I wanted to open one box. I can't see myself getting a Lewis autograph. I've got the Futero 6 card though, so swings and roundabouts, I guess.
If you don't mind me asking, then obviously talking to you like as a collector, what's like your goal? You already touched on like, oh yeah, I just wanted one of every set. Do you try and complete one of every set that you start? Like, so obviously at the moment there's Tops Now, 2020 and 2021. You've got Match Attacks 2020 and 2021. You've got the stickers 2020, 2021, Chrome 2020, Sapphire 2020, Lights Out 2021, and then obviously the new sets that are coming out. I think I've mentioned everything. So, like, do you try and complete one of every set, or do you just go for like premium high-end signature cards?
One of every set excluding Dynasty, because I'm never going to get a set of Dynasty.
Have you got any?
I bought one box for £250 of sports cards direct last year, which was really cheap, and I was really lucky, and I got a Latifi card. I sold it and I lost money on it because I didn't really want it. I'm like, if I had it, pretty much would have been happy with like 15 of the 20 drivers. I got my mate who got one as well in the same order, and he shipped it to me. He got bloody George Russell, and I got Latifi.
Oh. Again, those sort of.
I'm in chuffed with it, George Russell. Yeah.
Those sort of.
But I'm sorry, collecting. Yeah, I want a base set of everything. So I've got 2020 stickers. I thought, look, with the stickers, I'm not too fast, but 2020, because it was like the first set in years that they did, I wanted to have a base set of it. Tops Now, I'll buy every race. I love that it's like sort of current, that race. And I think for me, it's a good product where I can potentially get on-card autographs. Look, I don't know what autograph hunting is going to look like in Australia at the moment with COVID, but pre-COVID, it would have been a really cool set to get signed, with the exception of Hamilton, because he was hard anyway. Chrome. Look, ideally, I want one of all the sets, effectively, whether it's Chrome. I've got a Sapphire set. I was really lucky with that. I just bought bulk lots of like brokers and guys that I'd met in America, and they really looked after me in my bulk lots. So I've seen sets sell for like 5,000 US, and I paid less, like probably about, I reckon, 1,800 US for my set, if that. So I was very lucky. I don't know, that's a lot of money, but again, it was the inaugural set. I think Sapphire is the only one I may or may not collect for 2021, and it's purely going to come down to money. I think, Chrome I definitely want to finish, and Flagship if that comes out. There's not much information on Flagship, but if it's a set and affordable, I'm definitely going to try and complete it.
Yeah, for me, out of all of the sets that I've completed of F1, the Sapphire set is my favourite. Every time I open that book, I've got it there actually, there behind me. Every time I open the binder up, it just looks amazing. It's just the set. I mean, compared to Chrome or Lights Out and all that, Sapphire set is like the set. And I've got one up for sale at the moment for like $3,500 in British pounds, but that's because I managed to, like, I did the same as you. I was buying loads off any of the box breakers. I was messaging them saying, look, if you get any Sapphires, can you send them my way?
Yeah.
So I've managed to complete 2 sets. So I put one up for sale, but yeah, that's my favorite top set. And when I've been trying to do research into this year's releases, 2021, even though we're in 2022, I've been messaging and saying like, when Sapphire coming out, how can I get Sapphire? And just there doesn't seem to be any info on it, so I don't even know if I assume they are going to do a Sapphire set this year, but I haven't seen anything about it.
Do you know what I think they will? There was a mock-up last year of 2020 Sapphire, but they showed the 2021 card designs with Sapphire, and there was like a picture of a Mick Schumacher and a few others. I'll have to, if I can find it, I'll send it to you. But through that mock-up, I reckon they will be doing it. But again, Sapphire is like, I bought one box for like 800 Australian just because I wanted to rip one. And yeah, like I got a Daniel Ricciardo Aqua, which I swapped for a set of gold portrait. But yeah, I got absolute crap in my box. Didn't get any good portraits, didn't get anything other than that Ricciardo. So I like the look of Sapphire, but it's not a product. If I do it, it'll be trying to buy in bulk again to create a set. It's not something that I'm going to rip. For me, it doesn't stack up to rip it with the box prices.
See, for me, like I don't ever consider, especially if in the world of Pokemon, you could buy a whole box and typically you get one decent pull in it. You get like, they call it Rainbow Rare or whatever they call it at the time. And obviously Charizard is the main guy, but all the rest of the cards, you get 36 packs and you get 11 cards in a pack. So that's 400 and something cards that are all duds, if you like, and you're looking for one. So when I got to F1, for me, I don't consider any cards bad cards. I always think the best card is the one that you need to complete the set. So if I get the Lewis Hamilton and I get Max Verstappen, I don't care if I get F2 driver or a car card. Like if I need it, I'm like, yes, so yeah, it's only when
if you open the box of Sapphire that I had, I think you have a different.
What was the parallels you got in it? Do you remember? Or what was the
F2 gold logo, the CHP Charizard or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I got a Cyril Purple, the Renault manager of 10, but like the last one sold for like $20 from eBay. Not that I'm going to sell it. The Daniel Ricciardo Portrait Aqua was a good card. What was the other one? I think it was like an F2 team card in like Aqua as well. It was pretty bad.
I've seen some of the guys.
Gasly and a Perez portrait, like base portrait.
Nice. I've seen some of the guys that are collecting like a complete set of Sapphire in like Aqua or all the golds and all that, and I get so jealous. I'm like, oh, should I do that? And I just think, no, because I mean, you're talking big money then. But
yeah, Noah that interviewed me in the podcast that you listened to, he did the 1 to 20 in Black 70, and yeah, like the Hamilton is like a $6,000 to $8,000 card now.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, I'd love to have it. They look amazing, but that's a little bit beyond me.
Some people start off with, if they get lucky enough to pull a Lewis Hamilton, say, I don't know, let's say Aqua, and then they can be like, oh, okay, I might as well complete the rest in Aquas, because they know they can pick them up for £50 a card or whatever. You need to get the Lewis, didn't you? And that's the big...
I did that with the refract. Yeah, I did that with 1 to 200 refractor set of Chrome. I was really lucky. I pulled like 83 different refractors from my boxes, and I had like Lewis, Lando, Russell, Leclerc. The only expensive one I had to get was Verstappen. So I got really lucky on the refractors as well.
So going forward, what's your, obviously with the prices the way that they have been, I mean, from what I remember, Chrome came out on the Topps website, and obviously I'm talking in pounds, for about £135, I think it was, for a box. But then they seemed to, it was sold out. I was there on the day and it just sold out. And then it was straight on eBay for like £400, £500. And in my head, I was like, I ain't paying that for it. And even the Sapphire set, I did a video of me going to a card show, because they've started to become a popular thing in the UK now, or like they're building up momentum. I went to a card show in Wolverhampton and someone had a box of Sapphire for £495. And I took a video of me holding it, and I was like, I said to my friend, oh, should I buy this? I thought, no, I ain't paying £500 for it. And now they're like 1,700 a box or something. And I'm thinking, oh God, I should have just bought it. Like, but I would have never have seen that, because I would have just opened it.
I can't sit on sealed product. I opened my case in one evening. Like I just sat there with my girlfriend, we just opened it. Like I can't not do that. It's just
Yeah,
and kill me.
mate. With the new set that comes out, my plan was because in my collection, I like to have obviously a complete set of each set, but then also the sealed product that came out with that set. So I've got all the boost, I call them booster box, but display boxes for the match attacks, the stickers.
Yeah.
I've got a sapphire box there, but it's empty. And then I've got
my empty box. Yeah,
yeah. So I would love to at some point get a sapphire box and a chrome box from 2020, just to put in. I need a better display cabinet than that now because it's getting too much. Like
what if there's a Hamilton Auto in that box though, and you don't know because you don't open it?
yeah, but you don't know, do you? I was talking to a guy called Adam, who's in the we spoke about Adam in the F1 group. He's one of the admins, so he's quite a prominent character in there. And he was saying like we were talking about opening product versus selling it, because say if you bought like these F1 lights out, yeah, these came out and these were £35 or whatever, and then obviously they're about £150, £140. By the time you sold say 10 of them, the profit that you make, you can just buy the card that you want. Do you know what I mean? Like you could just go and buy the more expensive card because you've made, you know, £1,000 profit. Do you see what I mean? Like, and with the chrome, I wonder the same. Obviously, you have to take a punt on it. You have to buy it at the lowest price, and you have to wait. That's a big thing. Like you said, you have to have all this expensive sealed product, and you have to not touch it, and you have to wait for it to go up in value. And then you see everyone posting, "Oh, look at my George Russell signature," and I was saying to him like, I don't know if I could do it. I really don't. I think it would just bug me too much.
Yeah, I know I can't. I'm not going to lie to myself. I'd have to open it.
What is your plans for the chrome and whatever sets come out? Are you gonna because if you look at collecting, I don't know what your strategy is. Obviously, it's fun to open up the product, but in terms of completing a whole set, it seems like the best thing to do is wait until there's a gap in F1 the season. So currently, right now, we're in a gap. You know, there's no F1 on, so the interest for it is dropping right off. But then when the season starts in March, obviously the interest is going to go back up again really high. So then the cards are all going to start, I would imagine, start going back up in price. So that's like the worst time to collect, if you like. Are you going to wait, or are you just going to, like, as soon as it's out, I need to open it? How do you feel?
Well, as I've got one hobby box coming. My local card shop in Melbourne had blasters, but I haven't seen them anywhere else. So I've ordered 3 blasters. So I'll open that, see how I go. Like, hopefully, you know, you hit like the main portraits, which will save you money, and then you buy the rest of the base in bulk. Ideally, I'd love to get an Alonso Autograph this year from Chrome, so I have to see what that costs. But yeah, I was picking up autos from 2020. Like, I got them for like $300 US, like back in May, because no one was buying it. Like, it was obviously Max and Hamilton were very expensive, but I kind of think maybe as well with like the 2020 product, like it is the original, but like people might chase the Vettel and Aston Martin colours now more than Ferrari, so you might get some cheaper product of stuff that was more desirable because the drivers changed team and it's not current anymore. I don't know. It's tough to say because we haven't gone through that whole cycle of having in between seasons the product being released. But I think to a degree the print run as well is going to be a lot higher of 2021. So I don't know that it'll hold this. I don't think it's going to go as crazy as 2020. But yeah, it's certainly going to be popular. It's not going to be cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there's. I don't know what the strategy is. I guess open a little bit of product that I've got. Hopefully, find some more boxes at a reasonable price if I can, and then like hit up breakers and just other collectors for like bulk base or base cards that you need.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year when all the box breakers in America, they were, because I created a guy called Will who actually got me into Sapphire. He sold me my first like bulk load of. He opened up 5 boxes of Sapphire. Yes.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
He likes mini helmets as well. I've known him for a while. Yeah,
I'm in the groups of those, and I look at them and I think, oh, I'd love to have a little Lewis Hamilton set, but I think I can't spread myself too thin. I can't be in that world and in this world and do well in one or the other, you know. So I he opened up like 5 boxes of sapphire or 10 or something like that, and he sold me all his bulk that he didn't want. So in one hit, I think I paid like £400, but he sold me like, I can't remember, I basically had, I would say, 3/4 or half the sapphire set, but obviously at the time no one knew what they were worth, and he was like, mate, just make me an offer because I don't know what these are worth. And then I started looking on eBay, and he came up to me and said, Glenn, if you have a American eBay account as well as a UK one, you see more listings, you see the American listings. So obviously I didn't know that. I learned that obviously like later, and then I saw it, and they were going for so cheap. I was buying like, I remember one day I bought a Kimi Räikkönen base sapphire card for like, I swear it was like $1.70, but then I had to pay like that £20 in shipping and import tax, or I don't know, whatever it was. But and I thought, oh my god, this is the way to do it. And so I set up a ship my cards account in America, and then I've just been buying. Now I'm trying to collect autographs, so I'm way behind you obviously, but I've got the F2 autographs from Chrome, and now I'm chasing the lower end like Latifi's and Kvyat and all of those. So I'm not going to be able to get, like you said, I'm priced out with the other one, so my collection will probably stop there. But yeah, I'm going to wait for all these box breakers to open up. And they were selling bundles. They were selling like 50 sapphire cards, and they were going for like silly money. In my opinion, you know, I thought they were worth a lot more at the time, and now they are. Now they are worth a lot more. So I think that's probably the way to go. Just wait for those box breakers to crack open. What do you feel about box breakers? Do you take part in them? Do you enjoy them? Do you think they ruin the hobby?
It's not for me. To me, it's just a form of gambling, particularly when it's like a randomized break and what you pay for a spot. I'd rather put that money into buying a couple of cards that I actually want. Very rarely, unless you get like a Lewis Hamilton autograph or variation or something, then I see the value in what people pay for the box break. From the few that I've watched, I've done a couple of lights out ones only because they're really cheap. I went it's like a 3 box break with Sports Card Direct for like £20. And I hit a knock on first win of 99. So I was pretty happy with that, and they shipped it with the box that I bought off him. But I just don't personally. I don't see the value in breaks just for Chrome and Sapphire, just with how much you have to pay for them. Because you can pick up a lot of cool cards for the same sort of price. But yeah, I've done what you've done, like with the ship my card account and everything else. Just made it so much easier. But like early on in Sapphire, I remember I let go like a Kimi Räikkönen, black like the black 71 for like 25 US. I chose not to buy it. Like, there was just so many deals out there that, I look back on and you should have bought with prices now. Like I got offered a Seb purple sapphire portrait, like of 10 for $600. It's just crazy, like some of the values now. But yeah, US eBay, there's definitely some really good buying on there. And the good thing for me in Australia, like their night time is like my middle of my day. So the listings generally finish like while I'm at work, and I always set like alarms on my phone to remind me. Otherwise, it forgets a bit. But they're not like with the UK. Your time zone doesn't work the best with nights. It's like way too early in the morning.
Yeah,
and you get better prices in the UK for a lot of cards as well.
You reckon?
On UK eBay, it's for a lot more. Yeah.
I can't. I normally buy from people on Facebook now in the Facebook groups and that. I haven't bought off eBay for a little while. I've just been chasing the autographs, and I've from like the F2 drivers and stuff. So, and they're going for like $20, which obviously in my money is like 15, 16 pounds, something like that. So I've been chasing those. And I thought, well, I want to buy them whilst the demand, like the interest in F1 is at its probably lowest. Obviously in mid-March, obviously you got the new regulations, the new cars being announced. Obviously the rivalry between Lewis and Max is going to heat up if they're in competitive cars. So I think, and then you got Drive to Survive, and then you got the new set of Chrome coming out. So I think the interest in March is going to be at its, I would say, peak for a little while, like for a few months down the road. And then obviously once a title contender becomes clear, then that demand for that card will be very popular. But I was watching a Sport Card Investor, and he was saying a lot of people with these sport cards, it's almost like sport betting. People will buy Max Verstappen at the beginning of the year, thinking, "Oh, I think he's going to win it this year, so I'm going to buy all of these cards, and then I'll sell them at the end of the year." So it's almost like a form of just betting on sport events. But you and me sound like we're on the same wavelength. Of I try and complete one of every set. So to me, I don't care who wins, who loses, what cards go up or down in value. I never check the prices of what some of my cards are worth. I don't care. Like you said, I wouldn't sell them because otherwise you've got a hole in your set, ain't you?
Yeah, I never. I don't want to. If I buy an expensive card, I want to know that it's not going to lose value in case I had to sell it. But I don't buy it with the view that I'm going to make a lot of money off this. And when I bought my Max, it was more just I knew I was going to get priced out if I didn't jump on it at like 2,000 US when I had the opportunity. And so I quite like Max. I rate him as a driver, and I think he's got huge potential to win multiple championships. Obviously it's very hard to get to 5, 6, 7 and beyond, but I think he'll win a number of championships, and I'll look back on that card as being something like that in my collection. So that's why I jumped on him early. Having said that, I was a bit cheeky. I bought 2 George Russell autographs because they were $500 US each at the start, and I knew George Russell was going to go to Mercedes, like being an F1 fan, and I knew his talent. And the reason I bought 2 was the second's more as a trade bait in the future to get like an Alonso auto or something that I know I won't be able to afford. And that's the only reason I bought 2 George Russell. But generally, it's all just personal collection. Nothing else that I bought is with the view to make profit off it. And I was very lucky. That's the wrong box, but yeah, shouldn't see. But yeah, that's the only one I was a bit cheeky, and I kind of did the betting with the George Russell, but it was like it was an informed bet. And it's his rookie card as well. So the 2020 have the rookie card stamp. So I think out of all the George Russell cards, like that'll always be the most. I think other than maybe a championship year because it's got that rookie card logo stamp on it. I did a bit of research.
I think with these box breakers, I think it's good that they do it because it gives people an opportunity to get involved in opening that sealed product at a very low price point. But then on the flip side, I always think if they weren't buying, or these box breakers, they don't buy 1 or 2 boxes, they buy 40, 50 boxes. I mean, I took part in a box break the other day and they had the lights out and they must have had 120 boxes. I don't know, something ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I know one guy in America that got 50 boxes and he said he was getting 50 more of the lights out. That's the other issue. Yeah, they're holding a lot of the stock, so it's not going to the collector market, and it makes it harder for you and I who just want a couple of boxes to open to get the product.
Yeah, but they're setting the...
Also, when you look at Chrome and Sapphire, they're not affordable breaks. It's like $370 a spot. Like it's still not affordable to go in the break.
Yeah. Now, it's crazy now.
Like lights out breaks are affordable and they're fun. That's why I've done a handful of Aston Martin ones, just because I like 30, 40 Australian dollars, just for a bit of fun. But yeah, when it's like that, I don't mind it. But yeah, taking the product away from people who want to collect and buy the boxes to open, that's another issue with it as well.
Because I look at the way that they price stuff, and typically, obviously, they have to do a box break where they make profit from it. Otherwise, they can't continue that business. So I was looking at, I took part in UK box break and the other night, and it was really fun. They had really good setup, and I'm not knocking them in any way. I'm glad that they do it, I suppose. But they it worked out £17.50 for a random slot, and there was 10 teams. So that means then they're receiving £172.50 for each box of lights out. Now, someone who's then looking at that going, oh, that means the boxes are worth 170. So they're almost propping the prices up of these boxes. If all of a sudden they say like Chrome came out and no box breakers bought them, just collectors, people that opened them and kept most of it, they would probably stay not that much above retail. It's almost... Yeah.
The other thing with the breaks, you've got to factor in postage and packaging and all that they've got to take out of that price.
Yes, true.
Because usually that's included of local. Obviously for international they charge more, but Yeah, that can like because I look at the box price of a break as well, and I'm like, it's just way too expensive for what it is. Like like I just calculate it from what each slot costs and everything else. And,
Yeah, I
yeah.
I was thinking because I've got 6 F1 light boxes spare, and someone put on there, oh, who's doing a box break, and I thought, oh yeah, I might give it a go, so and do like £15 a slot or something, but I don't know. I find it really, like you, I find it hard not to just. I've been thinking about it today. Oh, should I just open them myself? But then I've opened like 7 of them already, I think, and I've got like
What do you,
almost 4 of every
yeah,
card.
obviously I'm hoping to hit like a Hamilton, but like you could. I've seen Hamilton of 99 parallels go for around 300 US. Like you could sell.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying to it. Earlier. You might as well sell the. This is where the money is in these collectible cards. Is selling the product. I was talking to a big box breaker in America. His name on Instagram. It's like Dupester3 or something. And and I was talking to him, and he said, Glenn, if you ever get any sealed product, you lose 80% value the second you open it up. And he said, I've opened so many boxes. And you look at his Instagram, and obviously the highlights are there. So, like, he pulled a Lewis Hamilton purple, and he was like, yeah, that's worth £50,000. So, if you factored that in, if you opened up hundreds and hundreds, you'd say, oh, look, I've made profit now. But you really have to hope for that. If you don't pull that one card, then you're at a loss, So, it's mental. It's mental. Like you said, it's gambling at that point, isn't it? And I don't mind a gamble. I'm a gambling man. I'm a nightmare when I go in the casino. I can't get out, so I always come out losing.
I like betting horse racing and stuff as well. Yeah, I mean, I look at the box price, and the, you're just not going to hit like a 101 Lewis. Like, oh no, someone's going to hit it, but you're better off buying a 99 Lewis than buying the 2 boxes, in my view. If you've got them selling, it depends on what you want for your collection. But I guess the other way, look, is that the only way you're ever going to get that 1 of 1 hit is if you rip a box and you open it and you get it in that box. But a lot of the 1 of 1s have been hit though with lights out. Like, it looks like all the good ones have been gone, except for maybe Max. But there's so many out there.
Hamilton hasn't been pulled yet, and Max hasn't been pulled yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and everyone else. I'm not going to get the Vettel one, unfortunately.
How much is that going for? I didn't see if anyone put it up.
The girls on the Facebook page, actually, yeah, she's like a genuine collector, which is nice. I don't know if she's selling it though. Or...
I don't know. I've sold her a couple of bits before, and I remember she was complaining the box was all dented or whatever, and then she was like, "Oh, should I send it back?" and that, and I felt a bit bad for her, and then I think I said to her, I'll buy that bent box off you. I don't care,
Yeah.
And then she got the 1 of 1 Sebastian Vettel, so yeah, it's like unbelievable luck. But yeah, I love I love the chase. I don't mind the gamble on some of the, but like you said, there's a certain price point where you're like, oh, I'm paying £300 for, and then you might get like you said, like Latifi or something. You think, oh, I've just spent. I might as well. I could have just the card that I wanted. I could have just paid another cut of £100, and I could have just bought it outright.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough one, but. Yeah, I'm really excited about next, the ones that are due to come out. And you mentioned that they might be bringing out a flagship one. It's scheduled for next week, which I don't know anything about that set.
On the top schedule, like it was announced ages ago, like pretty much just after Chrome came out. So flagship, it's the same design as the Chrome cards, to my understanding, looking at other top sets. But it's just the paper stock, so the cards aren't as like high end, and kind of, I guess, like a lights out card. I haven't held a lights out card yet, but and there's no autos or anything like that. But I think there's relics, like the memorabilia patches. But yeah, that's due out on Feb 4 according to the Topps release schedule. So it'll be interesting to see that, and you get 8 cards in a packet. So hopefully a base set of that one's not so obtainable. But the boxes are like $1,000 Australian to like £500 at the moment if you're getting them online. So seems like a lot of money for a paper product, even though you get a lot of cards.
And do you think, though, that it's too much in such a short period of time? Obviously, we would have had F1 Lights Out has only just been delivered all around the world, like over the last week or so. And then you're talking about potentially a flagship set coming out next week. And then potentially the week after that, we've got Chrome coming out. And then, like last time, Chrome and Sapphire came out very quickly. And also the F1 Dynasty. So you're talking about 5 different main sets.
Yeah.
It's all in the
too much
space.
too quickly.
Yeah. You think that
realistically, it might be they need to get their act together and sort of have like the paper product around sort of a couple of months into the season. So it's like it's current and then it's fresh. I understand Chrome and Dynasty is going to take longer because there's autographs and all that sort of stuff. But the paper product without those autographs, I don't understand why they can't get that out sooner. It just, yeah, well, 4 products coming out in like 1 month is just, it's too much.
Yeah, I think it would oversaturate the market because there'd be some people chasing that, some people chasing that, and whereas if you did it over like spread apart a few months apart, everyone would be chasing that, so I think too much
it's supply and demand, and I think because so much is coming onto the market in such a short time, I think we'll get a real gauge of where the F1 collectors market's at. Because as we were discussing before recording, like I think Lights Out is dipping. I mean, you know, the parallels are nice and everything else, but even the base cards and full sets, like I've seen people offer base sets now for like €150 when they were like more than double that, you know, a week ago. So I think, you know, Lights Out is already starting to go down a little bit. And I think maybe the flagship won't hold much against Chrome when it's coming out in the same month. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I said, I'm all about that Sapphire. If I had to pick a set, it'd be Sapphire, hands down. If I had loads of Chrome and not Sapphire, I'd probably be a bit gutted. But like you said, they didn't do the autographs on the Sapphire set, did they? So then Chrome has always got that premium, hasn't it, against Sapphire? But then Sapphire,
for me, I love a good autograph. So I think, whilst I love Sapphire and the look of it, and it's such a beautiful set, and I've got a base, obviously, but I just think if you're paying that much for a box, I'd rather open a Chrome box with the chance of hitting an autograph. I just think that's for me the best card you can get. I know there's image variations and like 1-on-1 portraits, which get the big money, but for me, the autograph personally is what I feel like is the best possible hit you can get.
It makes that card more personal, doesn't it? Because you know that driver signed that.
Yeah,
that
signed a sticker attached to it.
Yeah, signed a load of stickers. Yeah, I find that. How do you feel about, obviously, with the F1, not just F1, but I noticed William Lawrence, when he got a load of Sapphires signed, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to be well expensive. They're going to go through the roof. And then, because obviously I'm new to all of this, you've been doing it for a while, so you may know better. But actually, it devalued them. Like, people were like, oh yeah, I'll give you 200 quid for it. I was like, what? Like a card that's signed by that driver? I thought it'd be worth $8,000, like some of these gold and purple cards are going for. But they weren't. It almost like devalued them.
Yeah, I think with getting in-person autographs, like a lot of people want authentication. And like when you get an auto from a Chrome box, like it's a numbered hit. So it's got like a proper value. Whereas if it's an impact for me, I'm going to try and get a bunch of cards signed at the Australian Grand Prix this year. But for me, it's just for my own collection. I'd love to do a 1 to 20 base set of Chrome 2020. Hamilton's going to be a nightmare because he's so hard to get. I think I've got one autograph from him in the last, taking out COVID in the like 2 years prior to that. Kimmy, there's the signature store doing a signing with Kimmy, so I'm going to send my name to get signs. But yeah, I don't know. The autograph's interesting. Like I look back on my Futera set, and I kind of wish my Hamilton wasn't signed, and then it might grade an 8 or a 9 because it's got a little soft corner because I've carried it around with me to get it signed. But at the same time, I think if it's such a unique card like the Futera one and it's signed, like as long as the slab is authentic, the value's still there. I think for something like that, or if it's a general product, I think it's just the value of an autograph, I guess. But yeah, you wouldn't be getting like a of 25 portrait of Lewis signed. It would completely ruin the card because you're altering like what already is the valuable item. Like people wanted like a 10 out of 10. Like you wouldn't get like a gold portrait of Lewis signed by Lewis. It would just completely ruin the card. It's not what collectors want.
I'd want that.
I don't know. I want him to sign the base cards. Like, I'm going to be getting maybe spare lights out cards, like base chrome signs. But yeah, for me, it's more just I like it. You know, I like chasing the drivers and getting their autographs and knowing that they've held the card and the interaction that you've had with the driver. And you know, it's a different thing. But he still did all right, I think, with selling some of them. Like, he didn't devalue the cards; he just didn't get as much as maybe some people would have thought.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I in my head I was thinking thousands, you know, these, but then they were worth. He was selling them for like 200-300, and I was like, what? Like, how's that work? Like, you know, but yeah, going to the autograph side of it. How do you know where the drivers are going to be at any given time? Do you just sort of like pitch yourself in like a prime spot and say, right, I'm going to wait here all day until someone turns up, or do you know roughly where they're going to be at certain times?
Look, through doing it for a long time, to sort of know where to go and what to do. It's not something that like I would readily share, because if people know to a degree how easy it is, I think a lot of people will do it. I'm happy to talk to you about it off camera if you want, but yeah, I don't want to give my secrets away, because if you do, too many people will do it. Because it realistically, if you know what you're doing, it's not that hard. Well, in Melbourne, it is a lot harder overseas. Like, I went to Silverstone in 2010, and like that was when it was the old pit block with the current track design. And like I snuck into the infield and managed to program signed by every driver in one day. But again, that's just sort of like knowing what to do, where to be, just through doing it for a very long time. Like, I've been chasing Formula One autographs into when I was 13 years old.
Do any of your friends do this with you?
It's right time with a lot of it.
Do any of your friends do this with?
Not like my like normal circle of friends, but I've got autograph hunting friends, and I've made good friends through it. Like, I used to, when I was a lot younger, like in my late teens, I used to chase a lot of bands. Like, I got backstage with the Arctic Monkeys when the first time they came to Australia. I'm now Oasis, because I like my favourite band when I was 16. Got Liam Knowles autographs and photos with them. You can kind of apply the same theory to meeting other people as well.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I would love to go autograph hunting. I've only ever been to one Grand Prix, and that was Silverstone, and that was only like a few years ago. Well, you know, not without giving any sort of sob story, I grew up in a, let's say, underprivileged background. So Formula One was a world away from where I grew. You know, there was no chance. But then it just sort of like, I don't know, it sort of struck me, like I was like, oh, why don't I just go to one? And I was just going to go on my own. Like, and then I found my father-in-law. He said, oh, I'll come with you. I like watching F1. So we went together. But I wanted to absorb. I was so excited because, like, all of a sudden I'm seeing all these things that I would see on TV and noises and sounds and stuff, and I'm seeing it in real life, and I'm like, oh my god, look, that's that corner, and that's that straight, and that's that build. You know, I was so excited. I was like a kid in a candy shop. And for qualifying, you can sit wherever you want, can't you? You can just go from one corner to another. And yeah, mate, I was so excited. I was taking pictures of me at the straight and all that, and yeah, it was, I loved it. But my father-in-law, he actually he didn't break his leg, but he really fractured his leg or something, and he was on crutches. So I was almost like running from one place to another, and he was like, yeah, I'll catch up with you later. And I felt really guilty. So I was like, no, I'll wait for you. So we were walking really slowly everywhere, and there was there'd be like an hour queue for the simulator and stuff like that. And he was like, oh no, I'll go back to the hotel. And I was like, oh, I'll come with you then. So I sort of like, I'd like to go with someone that's maybe a bit younger and like who's happy to like dart about everywhere. Yeah, I love the experience though, and I sort of wish that I went when obviously all the engines were obviously a lot louder back in the day. Still really loud, but it isn't the same. But yeah, mate, I'd be excited. Do you know who I'd be really excited about meeting random people? Because to me, obviously, I've grew up watching it on TV. So for me, this is the order of who I'd want to meet: Lewis Hamilton, Martin Brundle, like who's the other? Crofty, Chandok. Like in my head, like, because they're the people I see week in, week out. Talk. Johnny Herbert, you know. And then probably I like some of the other drivers and that. But yeah, I'd be like a kid in a candy shop if I met one of them and got an autograph. I'd be so excited.
Yeah, look, I was exactly the same because when I lived in Sydney, my dad took me for my birthday to Melbourne the first year, like 2002. And yeah, every time I go overseas for the first time, I'm like that. Like I never traveled, like I'd never been overseas till I was 21 that year that I went to 5 races. Like I saved up for like 3 years to do it. But for me, it was like at Hockenheim. Do you remember how they used to have the giant mobile model on the pits?
Yeah.
Like it's like a giant, yeah. So I remember playing the Formula One game as a kid, and you'd see that mobile bottle, and like that for me was like a surreal moment, like being there in real life, like seeing that mobile bottle. Like, it's um, it was, yeah, pretty crazy. It seems Silverstone, like watching it on TV for like many years, and Spa I think was the one. Like, because I've been to a lot of Grand Prix now, but yeah, I like really taken aback by Spa, like just how crazy that track is. Like, it's so steep, like it's just ridiculous. Like the undulation, the change in yeah, the track is just crazy. Like I spent the whole Friday like, walking around the track, going all to the different vantage points, and yeah, it was unbelievable. I reckon if you can save up the money and got the time, definitely go to Spa. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, a couple of people have said that. You don't pick that up on TV. Actually, I know they sort of talk about it and they show you graphs now, didn't they? And like like CGI images of like how the tracks goes up and stuff. So, but obviously, back when I used to watch it on ITV years and years ago, it was just like a flat image of the layout of the track, and that's it. That's all you got from it. And really, you're watching it on TV at their camera angles. You never got an idea of how steep.
Right. Yeah, E-Rouge is crazy. Like, there's like a bar at the sort of bottom, you through the radio, and it's just like it's so steep. Like, you can't comprehend how steep it is. Like until you're there. But even like the bus stop chicane, I reckon there's like a 5 meter difference like throughout that chicane. Like it just looks like it's flat on TV, but it really does like drop down or go up as they're coming onto the last straight. So yeah, you don't appreciate a lot of the tracks until you go to them. It's just it's crazy. What year did you go to Silverstone?
Oh God, it was. Obviously, we've had COVID, didn't we, for the last 2-3 years? So it must have been 4 or 5 years ago. It was when I think Lewis was on pole position, or it was there or thereabouts, but the Williams got off to a really good start, and they took the lead at the beginning.
That would have been 2014 then. That would have been a while ago.
Oh, was it 2014?
Yeah,
maybe it was that 20. Well, yeah,
maybe it was 15.
6 years ago. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that was. Mate, the most exciting part of a Formula One race is, I think we all agree, is the start. It's when they all the engines start up, the smell and the noise, and obviously the excitement and the build up. And I remember, I said to my now wife, at the time we weren't married, but I said to her, whatever happens, I'm busy at 12 o'clock on Sunday. And she was like, why is that? I went, that's the start of the race. So don't call me then. And she was like, yeah, okay. And I kept saying it over and over again because my missus has a tendency, when she wants me, she'll ring me like, I don't know if your miss does this, she'll ring me like 20 times. So it got to 12, it got to like 11:55 on the Sunday, and I answered the phone. I was like, what? I'm busy, I told you I'd be busy now. And she was crying down the phone. She was like, oh. And so I was like, I said, oh, let me just leave the stadium quickly, like the stand. So I went out, and it was just me on my Todd facing the opposite way to where the race was happening, and I'm going, what's up, and then I just heard so I actually missed them all pulling away at the start. I quickly ran back up, and I was like, what's going on? Williams, like, I think it was who was there then? Who was at Williams? It was Barrichello and I can't remember who was there. But I think they took the lead, and I was like, what's just happened? Like, Lewis was winning. But then eventually he overtook him and he won. So, yeah, that was, I loved it. It was brilliant. So, yeah, what race would is there any races that you think, oh, I wish I'd done that race, or I wish I'd gone there, or I'd like to go there going forward?
I've never been to Monaco. That's because if I do it, like I want to do it properly. I don't want to do it on a budget. So it'll probably never happen then. But yeah, I want to do Monaco properly.
When you say properly, what do you mean properly?
Like stay in Monaco, like somewhere really nice, like have really good tickets. Like a lot of people stay in like Nice and catch a bus, or like, you know, come in for the day and then go out. Like I just want to be able to be there for the whole time and like enjoy it, which will cost a lot of money. So I think, yeah, Monaco, but Spa was the main one, which I did in 2018, and Vettel won when I went there. So that was his second last win as well. But the Italian Grand Prix, I'm just shitty because I went in 2018 and Kimi led like the whole race, and then Lewis got him with 7 laps to go.
Cool.
I'm going to see a Ferrari win at Monza, and then the next year Leclerc won. Yeah, Monza was cool. Like the crowd was crazy, but the facilities are pretty bad. Like you sit on metal like benches, and it's like really uncomfortable. And like the drinks was so like it's €8 for like a little Heineken. Like it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of far out as well. Like it's kind of like Milan, but it's like really far out. You got to catch a regional train to get somewhere, and then walk heaps. And yeah, I don't know. But Spa was the main bucket list one which I've done, so I'm very happy about that.
What about some of these new tracks that are coming up? Obviously, like they're going a lot further out, a lot to the Middle East. Is there any tracks there that you'd think? Because obviously that's closer to.
Well, actually, I'm not too good at Baku and Azerbaijan, but I really like sort of Eastern Europe and like Soviet places. Like I've been to a lot of Eastern Europe, like, you know, separately from F1. But yeah, Baku would be really cool. I think. And I had a mate actually that I met at the Belgian Grand Prix. He was Russian. He went the following year to Azerbaijan, and yeah, he said it was like really good. So probably Baku. But for an Australian to get there, I was like 30 hours worth of plane to get together. You got to go to like you got to go to like Middle East and then back out. It's like a nightmare for us to get to.
I would love to go to Singapore. When they first announced they're going to do an F1 night race, my little brain just went. I was like, nighttime race? How's that possible? And obviously they've pulled it off. Like, and it just looks amazing with all the neon lights and the fireworks and just everything. And it is quite an entertaining race. Normally, it pans out to be quite a good race anyway. So yeah, I'd love to go to Singapore. That's like my number one. I'd probably pick that over Monaco. But I know what you mean, though. For me, if I could find someone to go with me, which, you know, I've got a couple of friends that probably would do it, I could just drive there and then, like you said, I could just drive home after. It would be like half a day worth of driving. But yeah, I don't know why I haven't done that more. And when COVID hit, I really thought, like, why haven't I gone to more races? Why haven't I attended more? Why haven't I tried to get backstage? Why haven't, you know, and that has played on my mind a lot. And I do think that going forward, now that as I'm getting older and your family start to settle down, you get more comfortable with money and finances. I think I'll put more effort into going to more races and trying to do more, seeing live events. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I started off playing, you know, do you know what I really loved? When I used to play the PlayStation game was just, you know, like when you overtook people. This was like one of the old, when it used to be on BBC. Oh, I don't know if you have that. But when it was on BBC, like when you overtook them, it had the yellow, you know, like it would show you your position, but like in the yellow box. Like the old
yellow square with the line,
yeah, with the line, yeah, and all that. And I used to be like, oh my god, this is just like watching it on TV. My mind was blown by that.
In Australia, it's done through our own TV network. We've always got the British commentary. So like growing up, I had Murray Walker, then Brundle, and even now, because I've got Foxtel, it's like the full Sky coverage. So what you guys get is what we get effectively.
Oh, that's good. I mean, Sky, I think Sky have absolutely smashed it. Their coverage is just, everyone comments about, because it's also on Channel 4 in our country, and just Sky is so much better. And now that it's got, when they announced its own, I basically remember saying, wherever Martin Brundle goes, that's where I'll go. And Martin Brundle went to Sky, and I was like, right, got to upgrade my package, because I didn't have any Sky Sports at the time. So I was like, right, rung them up. I went, I want all the Sky Sports, I want F1. And he said, you know, there was no adverts during the race. They did like an after show, a pre-show. They were doing like an F1 show during the week where they just talked about it. And I was like, I loved consuming all of it. Like, just watching as much as I can. it frustrates me because obviously, like, because there's only a race on every other week, and sometimes you go 3 or 4 weeks without a race. Yeah, I just feel lost. I feel like, oh, I've literally got nothing to do.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Well, we've got 23 races this year, so
I know. Well,
oh, yeah,
it's mental, isn't it? It's
pretty
mental compared to what we're used to.
which would be good. But yeah, back on those old games, like I just remember the Murray Walker commentary. He'd always like, "It's Johnny Herbert," like when you're like just driving, like, you just randomly like say all these things. Yeah, I don't know. Just Murray Walker for me will always be the iconic voice. But yeah, Brundle's very good though.
Yeah, he was not only the voice. I always thought that Martin Brundle, like, the way he calls things, like, so many times I've watched the race and he'll say like, "Oh no, that sounds like a suspension fault," and then it comes up later like, "Oh yeah, we're retiring due to a suspension fault," and I'm like, "How did he call that?" And he was like, "Yeah, you could tell by the sounds, the way that the rattling in the back." Da, da, da. He just always seemed to call it right, and yeah, he was like my favourite. Like, so Martin Brundle for me is like, you know, when I was thinking about opening up this Grid 1992 box set, and I was like, God, I hope I get the Brundle. You know, I know you get one of every card in that set, but I was more excited about that than the Schumacher.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
good man. Well, I reckon I've got a couple of spare Martin Brundle cards, so I'll
Hey.
try one.
Well, what I want to do is I want to obviously for content for this channel.
Yeah.
I want to get the I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this. I saw someone was talking about the 1992 grid set, and he, instead of buying that box like what I've got, where you're guaranteed one of every card, he bought the packs in a box. And he said, "Oh, I opened all the packs up, and I just got one of every single card. Like, I didn't get any duplicates. I didn't." And I was like, "Oh, that's a bit weird." And I thought, "Oh, I wonder if that's the case. Because if that's the case, I might as well just buy one of them. Because buying one of them is cheaper than buying a whole display box."
Yeah, I think with the packets though, you only get you're 4 cards short of a full set because you only get 96 in the box and there's 200 in the full set. So you want the presentation box to make sure you get all the cards.
And I was thinking I'll get one to just literally just to open up on this channel, so that obviously it's not just me but everyone that can see like, oh, this is what you get out of the product. I actually bought that box off someone and he found it up a boot sale. I don't know if you call it that in Australia, but yeah, he bought it from a boot sale. I said, "Oh, if you don't mind me asking," because I paid 180 for it, and I said to him, "How much did you get it for?" He said, "If I'm being honest, I bought it for 50 quid." And I was like, ah. And I've been looking for F1 stuff up boot sales for years, and you get the odd Lewis Hamilton book, a Jensen Button book, maybe a DVD of a review of one of the years or something like that. I've never seen F1 cards or memorabilia or collectibles or anything at boot sales. So yeah, I'm gonna still continue to go to them and look, but I mean,
Yeah, those grid sets were like $20 US, and you could just buy as many as you like on the internet. I don't have to get signed, and like I'd lose a card, and oh shit, I need to buy another set, so I have the full set again. And yeah, they weren't very hard to come by.
Oh, have you got a signed Michael Schumacher one of them?
I do, yes.
Oh, nice. Did you
just
get
the name card, like the portrait card? But that was more of like a secondary set for me. Like I got all my '05 and '06 Futerra signed first, and then the Adelaide cards. And in Australia, like we were really lucky. Like in the 2000s, we used to get like a lot of the old drivers come out as commentators, like Emmanuel Pirro, Ivan Capelli, Yukio Katayama. So you could get like I've got more than like half the Adelaide grid done by like all the '90s drivers because for whatever reason they came to Melbourne. And one of my friends was just like a super spotter. Like he knew what they all looked like. So some of them like I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for him when they came. But yeah, getting all those '90s cards signed were pretty cool.
And you also get the you don't just get cards signed, you also get is it the programs and the lanyards?
I
passive. Was that you that got them?
You can see mini helmets.
Yeah.
I've got Yeah, model. Look, I was mainly model cars and mini helmets. I've got probably 500 sign model cars, 100 odd
500
sign mini.
model cards.
Yeah, I got like a cupboard just full of like 1 to 18 signed by like everyone, Lewis, Nigel Mansell, you name it, I've got it signed.
And what's your plan with it? Just to keep them forever, or?
I'm just a hoarder with Formula One stuff. Like I can't bring myself to selling it, and it's like they're really good models. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get rid of that. So it's
What does your wife?
really bad.
What does your? I don't know if you're married or not, but you mentioned your girlfriend. What does she make of it, or does she think you're in La La Land, or?
Not really. Like, I think she would rather I probably saved more money, but because we're like saving up to buy a house at the moment, which like I'm still saving a fair amount. I'm working hard at the moment, but um, yeah, she doesn't like she. I was collecting this before, like we were together, and she knew that anyway. So it's not like she can come in and like change it and say, "Oh, you can't collect anymore." Because yeah, if you knew me, that wouldn't fly very well.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, my wife thinks it's all. She thinks I make it all up. Like when I tell her, I'm like, "Oh, babe, this card just sold for £50,000." She's like, "Yeah, all right, Glenn." Like, and I'm like, "No, I'm being serious." I have to show her things. I'm like, "Look, look, look, look." And she's like, "Yeah, that's if you can get." Like, she'll say things very negatively. I'm like, "Oh, the new set's coming out, and hopefully I can get like, I'd love to get a Lewis Hamilton autograph card." And she's like, "Yeah, if you can pull it, and if you can buy the packs, and if you could sell it, and if you could do this." And I'm like, "Why are you so negative?" And she was like, she just like, "Glenn, you're a grown man collecting stickers and cards."
Yeah, I think with my girl, she's like when I got expensive cards, for instance, like the George Russell. Like I had one guy at one point like really wanting to buy one of my George Russell autographs, and I didn't like. I'm not ready to sell it just yet. But yeah, she's like, "Why don't you sell it? Like to get the money." But then I don't know, what am I going to buy with the money as well?
You're in a more fortunate position than I am. But no, it's right though. If that's what you're into, and I say to this is all I try and do. This is, and I think a lot of collectors are the same. I think we all have the same mentality. For me, if I can collect the stuff I want and break even, I'm not harming anyone. I'm not taking any food out of anyone's mouth. I'm not taking any money away from anyone's pockets. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to open packs, get the ones I want, sell the rest, try and break even. I'm not in it to make huge money or profits. I try and break even. And I was talking to a collector for video games. He got video games graded, and I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, that's what every collector. That's the collector's mentality. Like you buy 20 of something, you sell 18 of them, and keep two yourself. You know."
Yeah,
So that's my strategy. Is like I look at things, I look at bundles, and I'll say to people how much for the whole lot, and I'll just take from it what I want, and I'll sit there and list them all individually on eBay. And a lot of people say like, "Oh, you're giving me a lowball offer," and I'm especially when it comes to, I don't know if do you list stuff on eBay yourself much?
not really, to be honest. I just don't
No.
have the patience. Yeah,
So to give you an example, like
a little bit. Like I understand how it works. Yeah,
like so these are my cards at the moment. That so all of these these are cards I've got a list. Yeah, so
yeah,
I've got to list all of these cards, and obviously to list them, I have to do it one by one. These are the ones I've already listed, Pokemon, and then down there it looks a mess, but that's all my F1 cards that are listed. And it takes so long, like it's a mission.
yeah,
So, like when I say to people say, like I'll say to them, "How much for all 200 cards or 100 cards, whatever?" And they'll go on eBay, price it up, and then send me a spreadsheet, and they'll say, "Oh, they're worth this," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's if you list them all individually. If you then pay the 10% eBay fees, then you have to pay the 1.9% payment, whatever payment thing you pick." And then I said, and that's if you don't promote your listing, which is another, I would say, 4 to 6%. So you lose 15%. So when I come in and say, right, I want them like 20, 30% below that, people are like, "Oh, mate, you're giving me a lowball offer." And I'm like, do you know how it takes me like I can list about, I'd say, dependent, about 100 to maybe 200 cards in a day. And so when you've got like someone sells you a bulk load of 1,000 cards, like I have down here. I've got a box. I can't show you, but I've got a box down there that's full of about 1,000 Chrome cards, and I just can't. I keep thinking, oh, I need to list them all, but I just can't bring myself to do it at the minute. But I say to people, like, do you know that'll take me like about a week, like straight? I'm talking like 6 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. So a lot of people don't realise the hard work that goes into it. They just want the full price without doing any of the legwork. And
Yeah, exactly.
and obviously, like, I try and explain that to people. I say, like, yeah, you can list them all on eBay and you can achieve those figures that you're talking, but you know that's a lot of work. Like, if you work full time as well and you've got family life, realistically you're not doing 6-7 hours of listing a day, you're doing half an hour.
Yeah. And you gotta post them all individually. Like, just I hate posting things. It's the worst.
Mate, I've got about 3,000 top loaders. I've got like boxes and boxes of penny sleeves, the envelopes, and yeah, it's and then a lot of the people do like item not received or item not as described, just so they can get their money back. So yeah, it's a balls ache. It's a massive balls ache. So I understand this philosophy. So like when I'm trying to sell stuff, if I take pictures and put it on Facebook, if I want someone to buy a bulk load of stuff off me, I understand like there's a price to sell now. That's like to get rid of all of this now. I'll accept 150 quid. But if I'm willing to list them all on eBay, I'll achieve 200. And I understand that. But some people don't understand that. And they're like, these are worth 200. I've got comparisons. I've looked up all the comps. And I say to people, that's really good for you. But are you going to list them all individually? And they're like, well, I might do. I'm like, okay, then cool. Don't worry about it. And I try to tell people, like, look, mate, you are better off listing them yourself individually on eBay. You'll get more money. And that's me trying to help them. Like, I'm not trying to con them out of anything. I'm not trying to rip them up. I say to them, you are better off doing it that way. And they go, yeah, but I can't be bothered. And I'm like, right, well, I can be bothered, but I'm not going to buy them off you and list them and just to get the money back that I gave you, because then I'm just working for you, essentially.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, they're the conversations that I have. A lot of people start screaming, oh, he's ripping people off, and it's people like you that ruin the hobby. But I'm like, no. Like, I only want 2 or 3 cards out of the whole lot. I'm just going to sell the rest to break even. So then, in theory, those 2 or 3 cards have cost me nothing.
Yeah.
But for someone like you that doesn't do that, I wonder how you must allocate only. If you're not doing that, then you must be like, okay, I'm willing to spend this amount of money out my payslip on this hobby.
Yeah, look, I work on commission, so basically when I get paid, I allocate X to my savings, and that, like, I will not touch or dip into my savings. And then like the rest is like, I mean, I put money into our joint account, which is like our day-to-day living expenses, like rent, groceries, all that sort of stuff. And then the rest is my play money. So if I get paid more this month, I'll give myself a little bit more to play with. But yeah, once I sort of hit that, like, I'm out for the month. That's it.
So you won't buy it. You'll be really strict with yourself and be like, I'm not buying any more cards. I'm not.
Most of the time, it's hard. Like, I think I'm going to struggle if there's all these releases in the next month. But then I'll probably like sort of forecast what I potentially ever going to make soon, and then like buy it on the credit card and like pay it off before it's due. But yeah, I don't buy with the view, but I've got like cards that I can sell for a lot of money if I want to. But again, I don't want to. It's all collection. And look, I've done some deals. Like, I've sold some doubles just like on local pages, on Australian Facebook pages and stuff. It's more just to get rid of like the doubles or things that I don't necessarily want to keep. Yeah, I don't have the time or the patience to do that. But look, that's one of my mates who sold me the Futera deck. Used to do that with model cars. Like, he couldn't afford to buy them, so he'd have to buy a lot of them and then sell them, and then he'd get his one for free.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Like, yeah. I'll buy.
I'm like, credit to you, man. Like, that's. That just shows you like how much you want it and like how much of a collector you are, because you're working your ass off to be able to afford the card that you want.
It's only actually recently that I've actually started to, if you like, make profit, because when you list stuff on eBay, it doesn't, unless you're listing it as an auction, which I don't. If you list them as buy it now price, you have to wait for that to sell through. Someone might buy it the day it lists, or you may be holding on to it for months. I mean, I've got 2020 match attacks in there that, you know, so that's that they've been on there for like 2 years, or whatever it's been, a year and a half. So like, it can take ages, but once you complete all the sets you want, and as I go through it, I make money from it, and all I do is I think, oh, I've got £200 in my eBay account. Oh, I could buy that. Like yesterday, I just bought. They're not a particularly great grading company, I don't think, but I bought these Lewis Hamilton 10 out of 10 top nows, and that was just because I had a bit of spare money in my.
I'm so bad though. Like, yeah, if I've got like money in my PayPal, like, you know, I'll sell like the odd thing. Like if I've got a couple of doubles, I'm like, oh, I'll buy them off you or whatever, and I'll sell it. And then I'll have like $200 sitting in the account. Like, how can I spend that? Like, you know, I'm pretty bad at it.
Yeah, mate. If I have money in my PayPal, I almost have to restrict myself from going on Facebook, because what will happen is I'll get my phone and I'll go, oh, I could buy that. Like, just whatever someone's listed, I'll be like, oh, I could buy that. And, you know, I think, no. You said you were going to save up 500 quid.
I'll just lights out. And I'll be honest, like, I get paid on the 15th of the month, and I've already spent this month's allocation. We're on the 29th. So, and this product's coming out. With lights out, I was buying like Kimi, like of 99 cards, for like €40 delivered, and I bought about 6 parallels already, just because like Kimi and Seb, because I thought that were like reason. Can't help myself.
Let me ask your opinion. What do you think about? There's obviously new people coming into this space. Like if I look at the F1 Facebook page, when I joined, it had about, one of them had 600 people following it, and one of them had about 900. And I remember when they said, oh, we've hit 1,000, and now there's about 2,500. So that's like, it's doubled in the space of probably, I don't know, the 7 months that I've been in it or something. So you would imagine, say next year with like Miami Grand Prix, and obviously there's a lot of Americans and Canadians that join, I would imagine that's going to get to 3,000-4,000 very quickly. That's great. That's what we want. We want obviously more people buying, selling, trading, because then that helps everyone out. But I don't know. Have you seen, obviously, this lights out? Everyone's so nervous about selling their stuff too cheap or too expensive, or putting like a price on it. And everyone's commenting like they'll post a picture of a card up and they'll be like, hi guys, does anyone know what this is worth? And I'm like, it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Just be honest and say, who wants to buy this off me and how much? You know, that's all you have to say. And if people comment saying five or whatever, that's what it's worth. That's, you know, that is what it's worth. At the end of the day, these cards, they're bits of cardboard that have ink printed on them, and they're just so happen to be images of a sport that we like. They're worth about 50p. You know, like you look at like that lights out. Topps was selling that for £35 a box. Now you got to think, as a business, they've got a price in advertising, the marketing, the box production, the packets, the way they're sealed, the printing costs, staff, and all of that in that £35 a box. So you got to think they're making these for like 1p a card or something. So that's what they're worth. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're worth. So whenever people start saying like, what's this worth? I try and explain to people it's only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it. If you're asking what its net value is, it's worth 1p. You know, it's worth 10p. But to someone who's a Lance Stroll fan, that is worth, you know, £5, £10 or whatever, because they're a Lance Stroll fan. But only to them it is. To a Hamilton fan, Lance Stroll's worth, I'll buy it for 50p. You know, like, I don't care. Like, so yeah, I find it funny that there's so many posts of people like, what's this worth? It's like they feel that it should be determined before they open the pack what every card should be worth somewhere. But it's not. It's just people listing it on eBay as an auction, and whatever two people bid it up to be, that's what it's worth.
Exactly right. That's it. What I couldn't believe is it seems like tickets are going crazy at the moment. So like Lewis debut, which was the 2007 Australian Grand Prix, I've got that pass signed by Lewis with like his earlier autograph, and someone's offered me like $5,000 for it. Now that was sitting in a bag in my attic, and I had no idea that it was worth anything. But I'm kind of like, I don't want to sell it still because like I was at that race. It was Lewis's debut, and he signed it at that race. So yeah, it's like it's crazy how your perception on an item. It's like for me, it was just like in my ticket bundle in a bag in the attic, and then now it's worth a crazy amount.
Yeah, but then that means that obviously that card is now worth, because someone's offered you that. In theory, that's worth £5,000, but in your mind, it's worth more. Otherwise, you would have said yes. If I'd come to you and said,
yeah,
if I said to you, I'll give you £50,000 right now for that item, would you say yes to that?
yes.
Yeah.
All
right. Okay. All right.
What about 100 grand for me?
What about
my Toyota Supra? So yes.
What about 25 grand? Would you say yes to that?
I'd strongly probably, yeah. I'd probably sell it for that.
What about 12?
£12,000?
Yeah. I don't know what that is in Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Now, so actually, he's offered you 5. You said no. You're willing to go to sort of 10, 12. So its value to you, in your mind, is somewhere in that ballpark figure, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's not putting a value on it. Like, it's more that it's a sentimental item, and it have to be a price that I really feel comfortable in letting it go.
Yeah. I did car sales for years, and you'd get people come in that were really like,
Oh, there's glare on it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could. Sorry, my light's like really bright in here.
Oh yeah, I can see it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's from his debut race when I was there. So you're a car salesman.
Where do you keep that now? What have you just put that in? Just like a random cardboard box?
Oh, I've got like a proper card bin, and then I've got like a cardboard card thing where I just put all my loose cards. It's in a top loader and a penny sleeve now.
Do you? I noticed obviously in the background there you've got obviously your helmets and stuff like that. What about? Do you not frame stuff?
I've got no room for it. The only thing I've got framed is my Oasis signpost from the gig when I saw them, which is in the lounge room above my record player. But no, I've got 2 Michael Schumacher prints on the wall up here next to me, just because I like really cool like artwork design ones, and not really, man. I just don't have the room. And yeah, I'm still renting at the moment as well, so it's not our house to like
right. Okay.
picture hooks in.
I saw in the group someone was doing like a photo frame with obviously the mount in it that fits the cards perfectly, and I was like, oh, I'd love to have that. So in my mind, I think of these things, and then I get really excited and I think, yeah, I'll do that. And then you start looking at the cost, and then you think, where am I going to put it? And then you think, no, actually, I'll leave it.
I've got all these items. Oh, that would look amazing framed, or this and that. But yeah, you just don't have the room to put it all. Room becomes a problem in space.
I really would.
I don't know if you can see behind me, like that's just floor to ceiling and like boxes and mini helmets because my cupboards are full.
How many mini helmets you got then?
Probably like 80 to 100. I sold maybe like 30 of them a while back. I just keep world champions, like one from a world championship year, then Vettel, Kimi, and Verstappen. I buy all the helmets that are coming up.
Jeez. Have you seen the new Max Verstappen one, the gold and white with the number 1 on the back?
Yeah, well, it's the same as he's just got rid of the red, just made it like all gold. It's the same design as his last year's helmet.
I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I mean, obviously, I'm a Hamilton fan, but I would like to buy some of the Lewis Hamilton helmets and put them in the little case, the acrylic cases, and stick them up on the wall, like, once. So I'm actually in my garage, but what my plan is for here is to actually board this all out and get it all plasterboarded and then plastered and painted, so it'll look like say your room that you're in now, and it's just going to be a pure dedication to pretty much F1 and Pokemon everywhere. So
yeah,
I've got enough space. There's actually like, I point this so that I'm in a corner, but actually this is like a quarter of the space that I've got, so I could have this whole room as F1 dedication. But I'm trying to build it all up. Something that I really was thinking about doing the other day was, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but obviously I've got all these binders, so I've got the sapphire, chrome, and all of them. But what I would love to have is a complete set in a binder and have like chrome, because I buy the 4 across binders. I'd love to have the chrome version of every single card, refractor, which I've got most of them now, then the purples, which I haven't, I've only got about 20 or 30 of them, and then the sapphire, all on one page. I'd love to have that, but obviously there's 200 cards in a set, so I need a binder that can hold 800 cards, and these only hold 480. And I don't want to do it across 2 binders. I want it as one complete, so I can look through it. So that's what I'm chasing at the moment. I've been messaging loads of people like, have you got any purples? And obviously the Lewis is the biggest one. That's going to be the most expensive one.
Have you got some one purple?
No.
No, I've got all them. I've just got the portraits. I don't have Lewis. I've got everyone else but Lewis in purple portrait.
I don't even know how much it goes for at the minute. I think someone was advertising on the group the other day, like a complete 1 to 20 in purples, and I can't remember how much he wanted for it. And someone said, "Oh, the Hamiltons are going for about £1,000 or something." I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was thinking,
US for a raw one is about right, from what I can tell. But they don't turn over too often, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, so that's not unachievable for me. So that's where I think that's why the purples are so popular, because it is achievable. But if you look at anything above that, it's you're talking.
Oh man, yeah, so people are doing like the Black 70 sapphire sets and the aqua sets, and yeah, there's some crazy money in that.
If you did have an unlimited amount of money, or like you said, if you won the lottery, what would you be chasing? What would you be trying to complete? Like, what would be your dream collection of Topps cards?
I think I'd just have one of each in Dynasty. I'd buy the Hamilton autograph for Chrome. Probably not too dissimilar, but I'd probably do like a crazy rainbow, like a crazy 1 to 200. I don't know whether it be Black 70 or something like really crazy to a 1 to 200 set. I don't think you could really do once you start getting beyond orange, I think it's almost impossible just by lack of card.
Yeah.
For instance, I'm collecting the rainbow 147 Vettel Singapore win. I've got the 1/1 chrome of it. I've never seen a red sapphire of that ever. I've never seen it.
It may not have been pulled, I assume.
There's 5 of them, and I've not seen one. It's I don't know. So I don't think you could make a full 1 to 200 in red. I think it would be impossible. Even if you had unlimited money, it'd just be trying to find the card.
Well, that's it, yeah, because someone might have pulled that card and they might have chucked it in the bin, or they might not. How do you communicate with that person who's not on the Facebook group, who's not on eBay? How do you?
Well, yeah, when you say the throwing out, that's why I think the Lewis Butera Hamilton card is so rare, because there's 288 of them via the print run, if you do the maths on it. And a guy I know from Taiwan, he was saying in the shops back in 2006, people would open up the boxes and keep the Schumacher base card if there was one in there, and you'd get a relic or a memorabilia card in every box, and they'd throw the rest of the base out. They didn't keep them.
Yeah, that's mental.
So I reckon more than half of the print run of the Lewis 06 card went in the bin.
Yeah, that's insane.
No one would have known who he was back then. Schumacher in center, they'd keep that. That would be it.
The funny thing is, with collecting, I've noticed, and this rings true in Pokemon as well, the thing that becomes most valuable is the thing that was least popular at some point. And if you look at the Pokemon era, everyone can go and buy the original base. Everyone thinks the original base set of Pokemon is worth the most money. It's not. You can buy them for about £300, £400 for a complete base set, including Charizard and everything. But if you try and buy the set where Pokemon was really unpopular, the popularity of Pokemon went right down, and we're talking maybe 6-7 years later after it came out, they're you're talking a couple thousand per set if you can find one, if you can get hold of one. And you were saying about these Futura cards, they weren't that popular, were they? In turn, not as popular as this Topps is now. So it's weird. Like, I look at it now as what, like, whenever someone says, "Oh, that set's not that popular," I think, right, well, I'll buy a couple of them because in
Yeah.
5 years' time, where everyone will be like, "Oh, it's really hard to get hold of that set," and I'll be like, "Yeah, I've got," that's how I think now.
Yeah, I think with Futera though, A, it was technically unlicensed, and B, they never marketed it to the US. Whereas like Topps being a premier American card company, that's what's opened the world's, well, by world's eyes, America's eyes, and then it's got the mass attention because of that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I find it funny watching the and I'm uh, as bad as well. But when you see the Americans open the cards and the way they
Of
pronounce
the
the
cards
names,
existing.
and they're like, "Oh, I've got a Lance Stroll," or so, whatever it is. I keep using Lance Stroll because he's right in front of me. But
It kills me. Yeah, they say Botas, like Botas, Bottas. It's not Bo. They say Bo. It shits me. Like every single breaker says that, and it winds me up. I don't
I
know why.
wonder how many of them are actually like, because they're talking about a sport. One, they've probably never seen. Two, they've probably got very little interest in. But now, because the cards, I think the cards will help the interest grow because now people have a vested interest. So if you're an American and you like, oh, I'm just going to buy all the Max Verstappen cards. Well, now you've got a reason like, oh, I hope Max Verstappen wins next year because then the card price will go up. So you're gonna now
Yeah,
you're invested now, aren't you?
that's the other side of it. I feel like a lot of the American, like the big card guys, may like they're not Formula One fans, but they're seeing the value of Lewis is the goat, so they're speculating on his cards, and that's pushing prices up. Like there's a group that I'm in with a few select few, and they actually are genuine fans and watch the races, and we talk about the racing and stuff. But I feel like a lot of them out there, it's like an investment or a gamble for them. It's just a commodity, and it takes a little bit of the fun out of the collecting. I think when it becomes that.
Yeah, but then saying that, a lot of people complained. I don't know. In Pokemon, a lot of people will complain about scalping. I don't know if you saw, obviously, about a year, 2 years ago, that all of a sudden there was a huge influx of everyone that was into Pokemon. And all these people that would complain, oh, you're inflating prices and you're the reason my kid can't get it, and da 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 da. And there was a lot of these type of nasty comments going around. But then now the scalpers have left, all them Pokemon collectors and YouTubers and stuff that are doing it, they're all like, oh no, Pokemon's going down, it's going down in price. And I'm like, it's the scalpers that are pushing the prices up, and now they've left
Yeah.
the hobby. So,
Yeah.
like, if all of a sudden all these people left the F1 sport and a new card sport came out or whatever, that they're rugby or cricket or something, and they all went to that, we'd see the prices go down. Now, this is where my philosophy is: you should collect what you like because then you can't lose. If I had like a massive Lewis Hamilton collection, I would be just happy with that. I don't care if they go up in price, if they come down in price. I'm still happy that I've got my favourite driver of all time. I've got his cards. People that are buying just for speculation, yeah, they're just gambling because Max might have I don't know, Red Bull might be back of the grid. We don't know. I remember when Lewis and Jenson Button were front of the grid one year, and then for about 2 years after that, McLaren were literally like back of the grid. They were the worst team for, it weren't just like one race, it was like for a year or two.
Yeah.
So, if you're speculating on the price of cards on their performance, like it could really quickly change. And Ferrari, we saw Ferrari all of a sudden they got investigated, and then all of a sudden their performance just went like drop through the because they were doing that fuel burning injection thing. So that is pure gambling at that point, I believe. So I think if you just collect the thing that you enjoy, you will never lose.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time out to obviously chat with me. I really appreciate it. And I don't know, obviously, if you're interested, obviously we can do this again maybe later on in the year when some races take places. Obviously, you're going to have, I assume, a load more signed stuff after the Australian Grand Prix
I hope so. With COVID, there's no guarantees, but I'm hoping so. If it's even half as good as pre-COVID, I'll still have quite a lot of autographs.
How is the situation there? Because I know in Australia they're really strict with it over there. Like over here we
particularly in Melbourne, we're being the most locked down city in the world. But since Omicron's come out, they've just given up. As long as now it's like they want everyone triple vax. So, as long as you got the jab, it's fine. Everything's just open. Like even we got the tennis on this weekend, it's like 80% capacity. So they're pretty good with most things now. I think they've just realized we've got to live with it. But they were so strict even until like late last year.
Yeah. Oh well, that's good that it's easing up, because all the stuff I saw on the news was like riots and people protesting and stuff like that. And I thought, yeah, that's insane. Well, I look forward to seeing what you get from your hunt, if you like, and hopefully we can do this again. So thank you to everyone that's been watching. If you've been watching, we've been chatting now for about 2 hours, I think. So if you've been watching this whole thing, thank you very much. Don't forget to obviously smash up that like button. It helps spread this channel out, and also click subscribe. And you can follow me, obviously, Hammond's Hobbies on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of the social medias, TikTok as well. Started doing TikToks. Matt, is there any social medias you want to promote?
I'm just theausf1collector on Instagram. That's it. AUS But yeah, I'm not like a huge social media person. But when I do decide to post, that's what I do. It's just on the Instagram.
All right, brilliant, awesome. Thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you on the next podcast, and we'll get somebody else on to talk about F1 cards. That's it. See you later, guys. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Ciao.